Welcome to Content Ed, the podcast about all things content. Whether in marketing or sales, education or professional development, leadership or team building, Content Ed showcases great content that can make the difference between success and failure. This podcast is brought to you by Clearly Blue, storytellers and content weavers. We tell stories of products, services, brands, and people. Stories that will help you connect with your audience, customers, learners, or users. Count on Clearly Blue. Our focus in this episode is on sales as a function and how storytelling is an integral part of sales. In today's episode, we learn about what drives Rahul and how he empowers others in his team and his customers to success. We get Rahul's insights on trends in the industry and his tea leaf reading on where it's all headed.
Rahul, thank you so much for joining us on Content Ed today.
Thank you very much for inviting me for this podcast.
You may have a eureka moment. You may come up with a winning product idea. You could hire the best people to bring your idea to shape. But are all these of any use if you don't actually sell? Without sales or services, a business cannot possibly exist. And what drives sales? The right kind of stories. In this episode, we also bring to you the story of a master salesman, a typical computer science graduate who realized that his passion lay elsewhere and made the atypical move into sales and marketing.
So you started off by getting a BE in computer science, and then you moved into international business for your MBA. Then you spent a lot of years with engineering and IT services providers. So just tell us about your journey. How did you move from computer science to international business, and now you're working as head of business development and strategic initiatives?
And then I decided to prepare for the MBA program in my engineering itself, and then decided to go for this international program because I was very much curious about that how company functions in global environment and all that, how company work, Indian MNC work in different country and the other countries companies comes to India and how they function. So that's why I opted for MBA program, and it was a great learning for me to work, and since then I have been actually working with some big MNCs where actually I got the exposure of pitching the services, mainly the engineering services, IT, supply chain and procurement services for this international business. And maybe I covered all the major three geographies, North America, EMEA and APEC also. So that's my overall journey, I would say.
And I think your journey now has been through like a critical part of India's, our economy moving from at least the IT services. It's moving from IT services to now more products and innovation. Do you have any comment on that in terms of how easy is it to, let's say in a company where, you're a services company and then you move into products? How does the sales and business development angle change?
Yeah, that's a very important question and interesting also. I have actually worked the majority of my career into services, but I do know about the product also, how actually all these activities. The basic difference that I see, when we do marketing and business development for product, the product is tangible, where you can actually visualize, see and all that. Services is intangible. So this is one difference, and the sales cycle in services is bit longer, and in product it all depends upon the company to company also. When I say that it is tangible, intangible, so people when they are seeing a product in front of them, it's much easier to make the decisions sometimes. And when the services is a engagement selling, where actually you have to engage with the clients in such a manner, actually you should not lose focus in the buyer's journey, whether it is 3 months sales cycle or a 6 months sales cycle. So but challenges are always there in product as well as services, different kind of challenges. So but basic strategies remain same. Whether you are in a product company, your way of approaching customer is same.
So, what are some of the hallmarks of building a great sales organization?
Okay. See, first of all, to make a good team, you should have a good network. And if you have a good network, then you can recognize better people out of your network and can pull those people into your team, and then only you can make a good team. And you also need to identify the hidden talent in every person that you are recruiting. What that person can be suited to any particular role, or whether that person can do multitasking and all that. Because when you are building a team, you never know that that team is going to get success or not. But if you are confident about a person to whom you are recruited, and you know that person out of your network in last few years, so there is chances of getting success more. And then the important thing that comes into place, every time you keep motivating your team for the small regions, because when you are starting something, you might not have bigger achievements in the initial few years, but even a small achievement matters a lot.
So celebrating all the small wins.
Yeah, small wins means a lot. And then how you motivate those people or your team member at that time is very important.
What are the some of the things that get you going in the morning? The things that you look forward to in your current role.
Okay, so before coming to this current role, I was working in prestigious brands and all that, but everything was processed. I need not to think much about, because I had to go in the morning, everything was processed, I have to do this and all that. But before, while coming to this role, now everything is something I have to plan, I have to build. Started building the team from scratch, and then my job is to not only looking for the growth of the company, but also to hire good talent and to make strategies in different geos, where to hunt and what should be the literature content that we are actually typing or writing when we are approaching the clients.
Sure.
So every time when I actually woke up in the morning, I think what should be my strategic initiatives for the days that can help the company in terms of growth. And when you take initiatives, not all the times or all initiatives are in the right direction, but you should have guts to take initiatives, because whenever you do not take initiatives or some challenging task which can actually result into profitability of the company, then only you will be habitual of taking initiatives. So
Correct.
every initiative is important in the company, the role which I am in. So that's, I think, that what initiatives I have to take when actually I have to enter into the organization.
He's since made it big, developing new business avenues, partnerships in fields as diverse as oil and gas, energy and utilities, and heavy engineering and rail transportation. He has built teams and led them to success in new business development, strategic growth initiatives, demand generation, inside sales, campaign management, go-to-market, social selling, and market research across geographies like the US, EMEA, and APAC.
Cambay is like a growth engine. You're growing very fast. You're looking at multiple geographies, looking at multiple different kind of stakeholders, different customer segments. What kind of challenges do you face as a fast growing organization? What are the challenges there?
Challenges are like, suppose we would like to go beyond US geography. We have presence there, so it is bit easier for us to talk to the customer that we have a local presence there. Suppose we are going into the European geography, we do not have office there. So people would love to work with the company if they have local presence, first of all. So these are some of the challenges, one of the challenges that I would say. And also the culture, again, like we do not know the culture and all that. That is also very important. And also the most important challenge that I see is basically to hire a particular trained talent in that particular geography. Like we have to do every time training and all that, because resources are very hard to find in engineering services, business development field. You will find n number of people in IT, because that is more matured and more you can see. But engineering, there are not very much
Many.
companies in this scenario, but the finding the right talent, and then if you are not finding the right talent, then you have to train them.
Correct.
And then you have to retain them. So that is always a big challenge for us, for a company like Cambay in the starting.
In fact, I've noticed that in a lot of growing companies, they start off with, the CEO does everything, sales, marketing, looking inwards into product engineering, and then a sales and marketing function develops. But actually, it is my opinion that sales and marketing are two different functions. Mm-hmm. Marketing is more relationship oriented, whereas sales is more transaction oriented.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree with that. And many a times I found that people are not clear about marketing and salesperson. Even in a smaller organization, the owner of the company or some two people are doing all the sales and marketing, but in bigger organization, every department is separate. Mm-hmm. Sales is, like you rightly said, when you talk about sales, unless a transaction is not happened or the exchange of ideas or the product or services doesn't happen, then there is no sales. If you are talking about the product or services, then this is just a marketing telling about the promotion and all. Unless or until there is some exchange is happening, some transaction is happening, whether it is in term of monetary or some money, or then only the sale will take place. So yes, every company should understand that if they would like to take this sales and marketing as a separate function and keep devoted their time in terms of hiring some specialist person, don't take it in a lightly manner, because at the end of the day you will mix up all the things, like making a person those who is good at marketing and then he is also doing the sales. So you need to hire some specialist person, not only you but the company, those who are looking forward to make something big in their particular field. So they need to understand that.
What are the kinds of different sales collateral that you find important? People talk of, pitch decks, training the sales team, then we use battle cards, then different kinds of collateral for account-based marketing, we use case studies, we use white papers. What are the different kinds of collateral you have found useful, and where is this going now? Now that everything is so internet and video and tech oriented, can you just give us your insights on those?
As far as my experience goes with all these things, is basically we ran campaign through different landing pages, through white papers and case studies into certain areas where actually the target market was like that. And we designed our case study in such a fashion. We always talk about the customer pain, how we resolve that and all that, because these days actually people will read you if you are putting something benefit in that. Otherwise people will not read you. Correct. And how crispy and better you write. So
one of the trends has been that especially in these last few years, is that we are moving from, there is the sales, there's the marketing first, then there's the sales function, then there is a post sales, there's the interaction with the product team and all that. Now they have defined a customer success function, where post sales you continue to look at that customer for customer retention and also for referrals. Customer service, customer success has almost become a separate entity of its own in many big organizations. Can you comment on that?
Yes, it is very important, because majority of the time to identify a new customer is always a challenging.
Sure.
But if you are getting retain the same customer or getting the customer out of the referral is very important.
Correct.
And if you have a separate customer success team or a dedicated person for that, then you need to understand that how we can plan and strategize that how we can retain this customer, and always keep on talking with your customer that are you liking our services, what extra value we can actually provide to you. If you are not liking this, if you would you like to go in a different manner or something like that. That's how you can actually come into picture that you are valuing your customer, existing customers. So that is very important. And now the after sales services that we are talking about, whether in the manufacturing industry and in the services industry, how better they are serving their client after sales, because many people only focus on selling their product, and what
Correct.
about after sales services?
Yeah.
It looks good when I buy anything from the market, and then if there is some damage and all that, if suppose I call the customer services and all that, they proactively come and then rectify that problem, it looks good. So similarly in the B2B or B2C industry, your customer success, retaining customer, identifying the problems with your existing customer, or fulfilling their expectation is very important.
Yeah, I'm sure. Especially now in this era of social media,
Yes.
where one tweet about your product or one post negative to your product can make such a huge
such a
hangama.
huge
outside.
difference.
Yeah.
That's very true. And also, like, you keep on actually taking feedback from customer. So that is, you might have seen a lot of companies actually put their testimonial of the customers on their website. So that shows that you are valuing your customer, and your customers are also valuing you.
If you look around, you'll find stories being narrated across customers' buying journeys. Stories to introduce the company, stories to build rapport, stories to make the sales pitch, stories to even manage customer relationships after the sales. Stories.
So we are calling this episode The Salesman because, at the heart of it, you're doing such a world-class job in selling. So can you talk about some of the stories? What are, in your journey, during your interactions with all these people around the world? Just tell us some of those stories.
First of all, as a salesperson, I got a chance to understand the importance of my role, and I will tell you about this example, very interesting one. I was attending one interview in the initial starting of my career, and then I met with one of the CFO of one of the company, and then he asked me that a simple question that, okay, you are working in this company, and then you are working fine, then why are you looking for a change? And I just told him that for better growth and opportunity. Okay, just because of this, or any other reason? Then I told him, yeah, just because of this. And he told, do you understand the importance of the job that you are doing in last 2 years? Like, we are the new opportunity generator for the company. Okay, great. So do you know what does it mean? Like, I don't know what does it mean, but it means a lot for the company. Then he said that you are just like the father for the company. The father earned money to run the family, and you are also the father for the family. In many organizations, 20% of salespeople are running the company, 80% are just doing the back-end job. So that role is very important in terms of understanding being into sales. So this is the story I tell. Suppose you are into sales and business development. If you are not understanding the importance of your role, then you will not enjoy that. When you tell real-time stories, that will give a good impression for your team, because you have experienced that, and how you came out of that situation, that is going to help more. And there are great salespeople like Sip Khera, Jeffrey Gitomer. So you can also quote some of the stories from their experiences.
The function of sales and the way transactions take place have changed drastically over the years. But do you know where it all began? Rewind all the way back to 1730. A devastating fire swept through Fishbone's Wharf in Philadelphia. A local by the name of Benjamin Franklin, yes, the same guy we know from The Kite and the Key story, decided to start a firefighting department as well as an insurance agency to protect homes and offices. Franklin's company became one of America's longest active insurance agencies. Salespeople from around the world went visiting homes, presenting pitches, closing sales, and making routine visits to collect subscription payments for the insurance.
I think you're almost painting a picture of what are the characteristics of a salesman. You should be a storyteller. You should be an extrovert. You should really empathize with your prospect or customer. Learn about their universe, whether they like playing cricket or whether they like doing something else. So these, if you look back, if somebody is listening to us and they are thinking of a career in sales, these might be some of the things that they should develop within themselves. Would you say?
There are so many qualities, but I would like to mention few of those. And the person has to be passionate about what he is doing in each and every field. But in sales, if you are going not with a passion, because it is a field of rejections, so you should have that kind of guts to actually take rejection in a positive manner. And the patience is also very important. And also how you follow up your prospect, that is also very important, because many a times we do sales, we do prospect to prospective customer, industry, whatever it is, but our follow up techniques are not that much important. So how you follow up, so these are some basic things actually the salesperson should learn or should have. And also never say die spirit, and also positive attitude, positive bent of mind, because when you get a lot of rejection, your confidence shakes actually many a times, and you feel like that, am I in a right job, or am I selling the right services or the right product?
Very
so
true,
that is
very true.
very important.
Who are the people who have influenced you personally and professionally? Who are the people you look up to? Whose books do you read? Whose podcast do you listen to? Can you just shed some light on that?
Yes. So as far as the books are concerned, I am very much influenced by Shiv Khera.
Okay.
The reason being, like, if you read his book, You Can Sell, there is a very beautiful book written by him, how he entered into sales field and how he mastered the sales and what are the challenges he faced. It's a real time story of Shiv Khera in that book, and some basic techniques that he has given over there. And then a very beautiful book written by Al Rees, which is one of the renowned consultant, The Positioning. So the positioning is something like how you position yourself in the market. If you are a company, if you are an individual, how you position in front of your customer. Suppose if you take yourself as a product and an individual, then how you position yourself in front of recruiters to get a good job. So that is all very important lesson that you can learn from that book, how a country has positioned themselves to become rich.
Correct.
So, and then one good book from Jack Trout. He is the companion of Al Rees in many of the books, Differentiate or Die. So either you have to differentiate your product or services, otherwise you will die.
Shiv Khera, whom Rahul refers to, is a global thought leader who inspires and encourages individuals to realize their true potential. He has taken his dynamic personal messages to opposite sides of the globe, from the US to Singapore. Shiv Khera's You Can Win is an international bestseller that has motivated millions of readers.
Very good recommendations, I must say. So when you talk about the differentiate or die, that's very striking. Because let's say I'm doing BD for, there are so many SMBs and startups dotting. If you look at Bangalore, for example, I think there are tens and thousands of startups. And there are so many growing enterprises across the country also. How do they differentiate? How do they say they're unique? Because there will be 100 other people doing the same thing. How do they develop their business? If I were a BD of a growing startup or SMB, how should I tackle this differentiate or die problem?
Okay. See, if you want to do business in any area, you cannot differentiate all the time, but either you launch a new product or services which is not there in the market and which is not easy, or you launch a product or services which is already there in the market but with some differentiations, like some extra value added features in the same cost. Okay. And for a particular industry, let's say if you are focused on a healthcare industry, a product is only for healthcare, let's say, then people will recognize you. Okay, this company is doing only for healthcare, or this is for financial sector, your product or services for. So that's how you can differentiate. And see, differentiating cost cannot be a differentiating criteria always. If you read that book, you will come to know there are so many differentiating criteria how you can position your company or services in that category and differentiate. And without differentiation, competition is always there in the market. Even for companies like Infosys, TCS, competition is there, but they have become big. What kind of differentiation strategies they had when they were actually growing big? So for a company like a startup company, they can also become big, but they have to differentiate somewhere. People will buy from you. There are a lot of toothpaste in the market. Why they should buy this brand? So they should understand where they have differentiated. There are punchline taglines which will come in the minds of the consumer, and then if people think of certain services or products, that product comes into your mind. Suppose I say toothpaste, Colgate will come to your mind.
Correct.
Suppose I say bike, Hero Honda will come to your mind. Suppose I say refrigerator, there are so many brands, maybe LG or whatever it is come to mind, but there are few brands in the market which have positioned or differentiated in such a manner but they are in the consumer mind. So similarly for a startup, like they focus is also very important. You cannot sell your services to different diverse area without differentiating, because if you do that, you will lose the focus.
Rahul, thank you so much for joining us on Content Ed today.